Notice that at the very top of the Files panel, there's a series of icons, and the one at the very far right expands this dialog. So when I click there, I now have a split dialog that shows me both the local files, these are the files on my computer's hard drive, and it has a window for the remote site. When I click on this little icon that looks like a blue plug plugging into an outlet, you'll see Dreamweaver connects to my remote host. Remember, we're using Tdwc3Es just for the purposes of this lesson. And now you can see I've already transferred all of the files from this site up to my web server. And what you're looking at is a copy of the site that's on the remote server where it's now on the public World Wide Web, as well as the local files here on my computer. If I want to transfer a file, like let's say we've made some changes to the index page and we want to send them up to the server now, you'll use this icon here. Notice that these two icons are labeled Get and Put. One brings files from the remote server to your local computer. The other puts files from your local computer to your server. So if I want to replace the index page, the home page of my website, on the remote server with the version I have here on my local server, I would select it under Local Files and then use the Put button to send it to your server. When you upload just one file like this home page, Dreamweaver offers to put what it calls dependent files, because it knows that most web pages include secondary files or dependent files, like the images that are linked to this page. If you know that the images are already up there and you've just made a change to the text and want to replace it, you can simply click No. If you click Yes, Dreamweaver will take the extra time to send any related files along with that file. If you click No, it will just transfer the file you've selected. So in this case, only the index file is getting sent to the server and replacing the home page that's already there. If you know exactly which files in your site you want to upload or download to or from your server, then the Get and Put buttons are a very easy process. But sometimes you may find yourself in a situation I find myself in a lot. I've been working on my site and I've made changes to several pages, and now I go to upload them and I don't remember exactly which files I changed. You can always upload your entire site and make sure you get all the changes, but that takes a lot of extra time. And that's where Dreamweaver's synchronization feature can really be handy. At the top of the window here, this icon that looks like a circle with a double arrow gives you access to the Synchronize Files dialog. Here you have a number of options. You can check the entire site, or you can check only selected files. I'm going to compare the entire site. You can choose to put newer files on the remote server, meaning if there are any newer files here on my local hard drive, they will be moved to my web server. You can get newer files from the remote server. This is handy if you and another person are working on the site and you want to make sure that you retrieve any files or get any files that other person might have uploaded to the server. And finally, you can do both simultaneously. For now, I'm just going to put any newer or revised files that are on my local hard drive up on the server. The synchronization process can take a little while because Dreamweaver is literally comparing every file on your local hard drive with every file on the server. When it's done, it will produce a report that lists any files that have changed on your local hard drive and give you the option of uploading just those files. So you can see in this dialog now that the index page in my cards folder and the prints page in my cards folder, that's the one that had the untitled page, the index page is the one that had the broken links. Because we changed both of those files since the last time I uploaded this site to the server, Dreamweaver has identified those and is offering to upload them for me. So to send them up to the server now, I can simply click OK, and Dreamweaver will automatically transfer just those two files to my live server. When you're done uploading and downloading files, you can always click on this little icon again to put the Files panel back in its place over here on the right side of the screen. And one last thing I want to point out. When you're working locally, I always recommend that you regularly preview your files in a browser to make sure they look okay. When you transfer them to a web server, I always recommend that you go and look at them on the live server as soon as you've transferred them to make sure they really look okay on the server. To do so, just type in the address of the website. Remember, I'm using Tdwc3Es just for the purposes of this lesson, but because I've transferred all of these files to that address, that's where you'll see them. So this is the site that we just sent up to that server, and if I click on the cards page now, I can double check to make sure that the link to my note cards page really is fixed, and that my prints page really does have a page title now at the top of the screen. When I'm uploading files like this, I often switch back and forth between Dreamweaver and a browser looking at the live site. Using Command-Tab or Alt-Tab on a PC, I can easily switch back and forth between Dreamweaver, where I'm uploading files, and the browser, where I'm looking at the live site. Just remember that in order to see the changes you've just made, you'll need to refresh the browser. Depending on the browser you're using, that will either be Reload Page or Refresh Page. But if you don't refresh the page in the browser won't notice the changes you've made on the server, and you can make yourself crazy uploading a file to the server that you don't see in the browser unless you reload the page. And that concludes this basic lesson on testing and publishing files in Dreamweaver.